Hey everybody, welcome back to The Ox and the Rat, the show where we put old tales to the test of modern times. I'm the Ox, and
I am the Rat.
there you are. Right,
Yeah.
How you doing, Rat?
Not bad. It's been a while. We haven't
Yeah, it has.
filmed. No, we haven't recorded one of these for a while.
That's right. So what's new?
Well, it's a holiday here, so I'm just kind of chilling. There's not much I can do other than be at home. I got sick too, so I'm just taking advantage of the holiday to sleep and recoup.
Right. You got that COVID.
I got a cold or something. I don't know if it's COVID. I don't have any of the... I've got sneezes, and I don't have, loss of taste or anything, so I feel like it's a cold.
Yeah. Right, well, nobody is safe. I know, it never bothers me. But, cool. Well, I've got a lot of new stuff. Personally, I got a dog now.
I hear it.
Yeah, she's a problem in the morning. Going to be a big dog, like 60, 70 pounds. It's going to be new for me. And earlier this morning, I cut my hand really badly trying to take on the saran wrap thing of all things. You know, the serrated edge on it.
Mm-hmm.
So annoying. Partially because of that dog. The dog was distracting me, barking, and I was like, trying to do two things at once. Usually not a good idea. And yeah, just whoosh, right across that thing. It was a deep cut. Deep cut.
It's like a saw. What were you saranning?
I was actually gonna do a brew day, so I just put together all the ingredients, and that was just, because they're grains and they're out in the open now. I wanted to keep them semi airtight, so I just saran wrapped all the grains. It's like, maybe 8 to 9 pounds of crushed grain sitting out there, and I'll get to it throughout the day. Got this new brewing machine that's it's real simple. It's all in one electric, so no more like open fire and stuff outside. You just plug it in, put the stuff in, and tell it what to do, and it does it. It's fucking amazing. But I still got to put the stuff together. So, man, that's
easy.
why. It is, and man, it makes some good stuff. We have too much beer now. I don't know what to do with it. I've got, I don't know if I've said before, but we've got like a Keyser. It's like 5 taps built out of an old actually it was a brand new freezer, and we put a collar on it. We've got the taps coming out of a wooden collar that we stacked on top of the actual freezer, and it's amazing. But in there is like what we could probably fit five kegs, 5 20-liter kegs, and what's 20 liters in beer? Well, if you get a half can, right, like a tall boy is just under 500. So 20 liters is 40 tall cans. And I've got 5 kegs in there of different beer, and I've got one sitting out because I have nowhere to put it, so it's just ready to go. And I've got another like 4.5 gallons that I'm looking at right now that's fermenting, and today I'm going to do another 5 gallons. And really, I'm just trying to get all of the grains I bought a while ago. I just want to use them up. I just didn't realize how much I had.
And you're not going to be drinking all October, so you're going to have a lot.
That's right. That's the other thing. Sober October. This is impressive for me. 7 days. 7 days in, and I'm realizing that I'm not sure if that's sad or not, but I mean, like, that's the longest I have ever gone in my entire life. Well, entire life that I can remember without drinking alcohol or anything like that. And it's been interesting for sure. But, sometimes, I want a beer.
Yeah, sounds like it's time for a break.
Yeah, and I think the COVID thing, like, I was taking some liberties, like, when I have a regular job, it's easy for me because I'm a creature of habit. So, I just They go, wake up, do my workout thing, go to work, come back from work, do whatever else I need to do. I got plenty to do now being a full-time student and working basically full-time hours. But, you know, without that, like you're sitting at home, you don't lose 2 hours to travel time, which is amazing. But, there's still time to spare, and there's always, some way to fit in leisure. And it's not always a good thing, idle hands, devil's playground, and all that.
Devil's playthings.
Has it been the same for you?
Well, I don't drink very much. Like, I never have alcohol at my house. If somebody invites me out, I'll go have some drinks, and then, once I start, it's hard to stop. But
yeah,
usually it's when everybody else ends the night, and then I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going home now. But I'm more on the lazy side, so I'll just sit around. Since it's a holiday, I'm just kind of sitting. I finally did some chest exercises today. I tie-dyed 3 t-shirts, so that's something.
That's impressive. Yeah, like habits and I think hobbies, I should say, are really awesome. For me, it's brewing beer, whether or not I'm drinking it, and I think it's really cool. I find it fascinating, especially when you can watch the fermentation happen. And what else do I mean, I'm always exercising. Always. Every day. I've got a routine that I've kept going. I experiment a little bit. That On It, Joe Rogan's thing, the On It program.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I freaking love that. That website is like the best free resource on the planet. Like, buy a kettlebell and just do that stuff. It's amazing. They have like 70 exercises, and you can find them on YouTube or on Pinterest. They've been pinned up, and all you need to do is like just replicate it and get used to it. And you're doing functional exercises. Awesome. Throw in some runs. Anybody can do that. Another thing I've been doing that's been really fun is changing the way I walk and run. It's been fascinating. I listened to this podcast about how we've forgotten how to walk, the mechanics of how our feet are built, and like all this. I don't know. Did I mention this before?
I know, just kind of like based off of modern shoes, we tend to go on the heel instead of the ball of the foot.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it's totally. Like, you wouldn't do it if you didn't have shoes, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not evolutionarily consistent, which is a big thing for me. I'm all about that. I there's so much noise out there. It's like, what do I eat? What do I do? Like, I just go back to that constantly. What are we supposed to do? And just because you have shoes doesn't mean you're not messing yourself up heel striking, right? Like, you're messing up your posture. There's more impact in general. And so, like, I just started walking on the ball of my feet, and it felt really weird. And man, did it destroy my arches and my Achilles. I mean, they were fine. It was just like doing a fully new workout, which was creepy. But now I've got it down, and I'm running like 10Ks like it, or like that. And it's amazing, because before, like, living these experiments is so interesting, because you get to see it in real time, right? I know it's anecdotal, but everything they said was true. Like, yeah, I had to strengthen my heels, my arch and my Achilles, but once that happened, I used to have all of these pains in my hips, in my knees, in my back, in my butt. Like, it's so weird. And they're all gone. And the only place I feel stressed now is in the back of my calf. Like, that's it. And that's where it's supposed to be. So I've been stunned by it. Like, it's been a total change.
Yeah, that's, they say if you look at kids run, that's how they run naturally. And then you
I know, right?
Flatten out or whatever. That's why they also have those 5-finger shoes and stuff like that. So they're
Oh yeah, I'm real fascinated by zero lift shoes. I've invested in these other shoes, and my running shoes are pretty minimalist, but they could be better. So in the meantime, I'm working on doing what I can, and in the future, 100% going with like Zero is actually a company, XERO, and yeah, Vibrams as well. So you can get zero lift shoes, and like it's basically what would be evolutionarily consistent, right? Because the only reason for wearing originally for wearing shoes or apparel of that kind is to protect you from the elements, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not to give you some kind of, not to change the way you move. Like it's so strange. We've lost it. I'm constantly going there in my mind, like just looking at people, and when I go to Costco or wherever, I'm like, you are like that. These are your choices. Look at you. I'm like, why would you like? How are you not connecting the dots? Like I've got beef in here, and you've got a bunch of crackers. Look at you. Look at me. I don't know. Whatever. Pisses me off.
Another thing that a friend of mine who runs all the time, I don't know if it helps or if this is what people do, but it kind of helps you to be on the ball of your foot, is to lean forward a little bit. So you're like, the gravity's kind of like pushing you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And that's tough. What's crazy? Like thinking back, my dad gave me like the worst advice ever. I don't know why he did this, but I think this tells you this is how like information is spread and pushed from down, right? This is the impact of your parents. I remember he told me always to like walk heel toe. And I remember that so well. And I started doing it all the time. And I was like the skinniest but slowest kid on our baseball team, right? I was a fast skater in hockey. But take that away from me, and like the skates, I was awful in shoes. I was always slow, and I couldn't figure it out. Part of it was just being unhealthy and weak, but the other part was the fact that I was obsessed with this heel-toe bullshit. It doesn't work. The only time it might work, heel-toe or heel striking, is, well, it lengthens your stride, sure, but it's not sustainable over long distances, and maybe like on a beach or something, right? Because you don't really have that control. But yeah, I mean, it's been fascinating. I keep going there. Like what? How else can I live more simply? What are we supposed to eat, do? Like what? And like people think of it as noise. I'm like, it is, unless you go back to first principles, right? Yeah.
There's one person where we worked that always walked on the front of their foot. A young lad.
I remember a friend who, one that we worked with?
Yeah. At the previous, like the latest job.
Oh yeah, I do remember this, and I also remembered a friend of mine from back in the day. This was not a colleague?
No, this is not a colleague.
Right. No, I totally remember that, and we used to be like, that looks weird. I mean, there's going too far, right? That was the weird thing for me. I was like, is this normal? I'm like walking with my girlfriend, I'm like, does this look weird? Am I like, because it feels weird. And it was like an overcorrection. So I think you can go too far, certainly. But man, it is one hell of a calf workout. Like I could see it. It's amazing, man. And it's the way it's supposed to be. It's the way it's supposed to be. I remembered, and I started thinking about, like, my friend used to do that too when I was younger. I was like, this guy named Curtis. I was like, he was like always springing, like off of his feet. It's like, you look weird, but like, that's like going too far, but he was on to something, right?
Yeah, it's hard to find the balance, like, when you have bad posture too. Because if you straighten your back and you're like you can't, you're like just stiff neck. You're looking around like left to right. You're like, is this how you're supposed to walk? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, totally true, man. Totally true. Well, let's move on then, because I have made a game time decision, switching through these fables. Yeah, I've got one, and it has a little bit of my current situation. It's got a dog in it. And it's got a little bit to do with what we were kind of talking about. And it's also contextually relevant. So contextually relevant. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. This one's called The Dog, the Cock, and the Fox. or the rooster, as a student of mine was like, I won't say that word. It's like, it's a normal word. And like, okay, you don't have to, but yes, the dog, the cock / rooster, and the fox. All right. No, a dog and a cock, who were the best of friends, wished very much to see something of the world. So they decided to leave the farmyard and to set out into the world along the road that led to the woods. The two comrades traveled along in the very best of spirits and without meeting any adventure to speak of. At nightfall, the cock, looking for a place to roost, as was his custom, spied nearby a hollow tree that he thought would do very nicely for a night's lodging. The dog could creep inside, and the cock would fly up on one of the branches. So said, so done, and both slept very comfortably. With the first glimmer of dawn, the cock awoke. For the moment he forgot just where he was. He thought he was still in the farmyard, where it had been his duty to arouse the household at daybreak. So standing on tiptoes, he flapped his wings and crowed lustily. Interesting choice, lustily. But instead of awakening the farmer, he awakened a fox, not far off in the wood. The fox immediately had rosy visions of a very delicious breakfast. Hurrying to the tree where the cock was roosting, he said very politely, "A hearty welcome to our woods, honored sir. I cannot tell you how glad I am to see you here. I am quite sure we shall become the closest of friends." Ooh, that deceitful fox. "I feel highly flattered, kind sir," replied the cock slyly. "If you will please go around to the door of my house at the foot of the tree, my porter will let you in." The hungry but unsuspecting fox went around the tree as he was told, and in a twinkling the dog had seized him. Ooh, that's a fun one and a long one. Do you want to break it down, what you remember, and give it a guess?
Okay, well, I noticed both names of this cock and rooster are verbs or actions, I guess. So the cock is cock-a-doodle-doing, and then the rooster is roosting.
Rooster, roosting.
That's where they get the names.
Yeah.
Okay, so two comrades walking down, as we've done many times.
Indeed.
No plan, no real adventure, but they lay down. Cock goes up to sleep on a branch. Dog down below. Cock arouses the dog and the fox, and the fox thinks, "Wow, I got a nice, tasty breakfast." Little did he know the dog was there. It's a trap.
It's a trap. Oh, what a great meme! Yeah. So.
Don't think you know the whole situation before you've surveyed the land.
True. So you're saying, like, think about themes. This is about what? It's about revenge, or like
I think opportunity, maybe. Opportunity and something about that sly nature.
Yeah, you're on it,
I guess. But I can't put a sentence together.
All right. Well, it's about deceit. So you had something there. Those who try to deceive may expect to be paid in their own coin. And that seems confusing at the start, because you're like, well, was the cock trying to deceive? But if you think about that ending part, you talk about slyly the fox. "A hearty welcome to our woods, honored sir. I cannot tell you how glad I am." And then the cock saying, "Oh, it's nice to meet you too. Won't you please go around to the front of my house?" Dog attacks. Right. Dogs.
Rooster as sly as the fox.
Yes. Now, what a great theme, or what a great moral here. Those who try to deceive may expect to be paid in their own coin. I am immediately drawn to the tragic news from the White House recently. Are you aware of what I'm talking about?
I am. Trump and FLOTUS.
getting
COVID.
right. This is the same, let's just straight up say it, same asshole who went around. And to be clear, I'm not like a left leaner here. I think that's been pretty clear in everything that I've been saying. I am left of center for sure. I'm a liberal. I think we've lost sight of what that means. But in any case, I'm not fear mongering about this, virus and the disease it causes. I think it's kind of BS, and I'm somebody with cancer. I'm supposed to be worried. I'm not. But this is a guy who's telling everybody, and frankly, it's worse in his case because many of his followers are older people, right?
Mhm.
And he's telling them, "Oh, it's nothing," and all of the lies, like inject yourself with bleach and all that joke, and like the voodoo doctor who's like, like saying like, "Oh, COVID's not anything. It's demon sperm and aliens and stuff," and he'll like anybody who says who agrees with him, right? Whether probably doesn't even know what they're talking about. But he has lied in front of everybody about what this is, how to go about it, and definitely bungled the approach to it, right? And many people are bungling, approaches to it. I think we've gone too far, and in his case, probably not far enough when it was needed. And guess what? You paid in your own coin, man. Blat out. You've got COVID. And it's just poetic justice. Unfortunately, and he's a person of that who's in a high risk category, right? Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you view this lying piece of crap, like he's got the best medical attention in the world, right?
Mm. And he has experimental drugs which other people can't get because they're not FDA approved.
Exactly. Yeah. So, there's a great one. There's a great contextual one for you.
Sure. Surprising, yeah, like you say, that he isn't more sick. He might be playing it off a little bit. But, yeah, a lot of people, they're at that Rose Garden gathering or whatever. You look at them, they're all hugging, and now, like, everybody's getting sick. And a lot of them are unhealthy, like Barr and all these people.
Yeah. And we can branch that out, and people who try to deceive may be paid in their own coin. Personal life,
Is anybody deceived?
People do it all the time. I think like I've talked in the past about like Instagram and how it's a lie. And how people go about, like they just share their greatest, their big highs, or they complain about the lowest lows, right? And then, in many cases, these are influencers telling us how to act and how to be, and then it turns out it's like, oh, you tried to commit suicide. Oh, you were really unhappy all along. Like, oh, and I'll bring this into modern context. It's something we talked about, or my personal context. It's something we just talked about. Oh, you look really healthy on the outside, but inside you're extremely physically unhealthy. You could say this about a lot of athletes and a lot of people that you see at the gym. Now, I think that we've completely lost our sense of what health is. 100%. We've completely lost it. We see, because of media, right? Because everything's a show, we see a show of health. We don't see the mechanics behind it. You see that person with a six pack, or that person who's running marathons, but inside they're breaking down. Like, this is well documented, right? I mean, yeah. I'll stop right there and I'll let you jump in because I've been talking for a bit, but I got a lot to say on that.
I guess potentially. I mean, it depends on the person. Some people don't break down, but yeah, a lot of pro athletes, after a full career, they end up with like hip surgery. There's like that guy, that famous bodybuilder that can't even walk anymore.
Ronnie Coleman, yeah.
Deadlifting like 1 million pounds. Yeah, so it's not great, but some people do manage. I guess you gotta adapt to maybe use the pool or things like that, low impact stuff.
You don't. I'm going to disagree with you, man. What people do is they show the side of themselves as successful, and they don't show. Okay, take David Goggins for an example. You know David Goggins?
Yeah, who just got in.
That guy shares the worst and best parts of himself, right? You see him like draining his knee and stuff because he's been running too much. That's real, right? You don't see. Let's get another awesome example here. Have you heard about the movie Game Changers?
The vegan one?
The vegan lie movie.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Right. Don't bother watching it. Don't contribute to the bullshit that it is, right? Let's be clear. You cannot survive on a vegan diet. You cannot without supplementing. But what are we told constantly? Eat more vegetables. Vegetables will save the world. And then you've got this guy on there who's like, oh, before I was eating all this meat, I had all these problems. And it's like, yeah, it wasn't the burger, man. It was the bun. And now it's like, oh, well, now I'm a vegan bodybuilder. And it's like, you eat like a field of peas a day. Literally. You can't, that's not normal. We don't survive like that. In order to be successful, they need to supplement with things like B12, with pea protein, and mountains of it. And they have to be so well attuned to everything that they need. And at the end of the day, that is a lie in itself. You're not helping the planet or yourself. You are finding a way to avoid eating meat. That's basically it. But how many animals died to get your peas, right? How much biodiversity was destroyed in order to get you your stupid tofu, your soy protein, your peas? And everybody just says, we need to. I just heard it on the last David Attenborough thing, which was tragic. And then he goes on to his suggestions, right? Number one, and I see it coming. It's like, bam, look at the carnivores on the savannah. It's leopards. He's like, we can't sustain like them. There's only one carnivore per 100 animals. I'm like, you stupid idiot. Like, leopards, we're not leopards. We are omnivores. I'm not saying don't eat anything but meat, but that's not the same thing. And then he goes on and he's like, oh, well, we can eat more fish. I'm like, fish are fucking meat. It's meat. Like, and what is this?
Fish are disappearing faster than anything that we eat.
Yeah, it's just amazing how people have this cognitive bias, this cognitive selection where they're like, I heard this, so I'm going to make it true. I'm going to reinforce it. There's no argument to be made. You cannot survive without. We're not designed to survive on peas and vegetables alone. We are omnivores.
Crickets and
sure,
grasshoppers.
Sure. I don't disagree with that. I just disagree with the lie of the solutions, right? And we are being paid in our own coin, right? Mm-hmm. Every time that we double down on, you know what? We can't make any money from corn, so we're going to pay people to grow corn. And then we're going to find ways to use that corn, whether or not that's healthy, whether or not it's economically feasible. And that's just the economic and health side of it. We are destroying the environment by investing in monocrop agriculture. And this is the great lie, because it's easy to say, well, you have to kill a cow to eat it. Yeah, no shit. I don't disagree with that. But how many animals do you have to displace, kill, and how much of our biosphere do you have to ruin to get the peas and the soy that you need to live your lie? It's your choice, but be honest about it, for fuck's sake, because you are being deceitful to other people, and you're getting paid in your own coin, either through the health problems that inevitably result from vegan and vegetarian diets, and also you're paying us back in this negative coin. You're taking our money away from us. Right? Those are just facts.
Mm-hmm. Probably if you wanted to really solve a lot of the problems. You get rid of fast food restaurants.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Amen. You know what's a really fascinating thing? I was just talking to my girlfriend about this the other day because we went out for food, right? We spent $323. It was great. I mean, we got a lot of food and we split it 5 ways-ish. You know, it's unfortunate because I wasn't drinking. Actually, that's pretty fortunate because drinks are expensive. There's another lie right there. How, like when you're a brewer, you're like, why the fuck am I paying for this stuff? Like, it's cost me nothing. Anyways, but like $300, right, for a night out. And yeah, there's ambiance and all that. But like, I'm having such problems paying for food. Like, why? What am I paying for food for? If there's a convenience factor, sure, but that's a no to your health usually too, right? Every yes is a no to something else, right? You're deceiving yourself by saying like, well, I just don't have the time, so I'm going to pay somebody to make it for me, but that's also affecting your health 100%, almost inevitably. Right? I don't think it's very hard to learn how to cook healthily. Just eat meat again, right? Just cook up a burger and get some ground beef. But
yeah, I just watched a thing on France 24 about these French chefs and about people going out to eat and everything. This is a whole topic like this. Why do people go out to eat? Well, for one, they said like being stuck inside, and I think they said like 70% of the meals made were by the women. So over time, for like the last 7 months, like breakfast, lunch, dinner. So for them, I mean, going out, a little break, maybe better tasting food. Of course, it's less healthy than loading butter and everything, but that's the point. It's kind
butter's good for you.
I'm just luxury. In there. But I mean, just everything is just in excess to make it taste good.
Yeah,
but that's the point.
Yeah, well, yeah, like it's really shone a light, I think, for a lot of people on like what value is, right? You deceive yourself by saying, I can't make this. It's a hamburger.
Yeah, if you're going out,
it's a freaking hamburger. Like, what are you doing? You can't make a hamburger.
The Keg Steakhouse or something, like, just stay at home.
It's a steak and potatoes. Yeah. Like, that's what it is. How much like, I love to see like comparisons of like home versus McDonald's burger. Yeah, they have an economy of scale, but you're getting less than what you think. Like, how much of that? And again, like, if you're paying less, you're actually, I mean, it's like a piggy bank, right? Like, you're just taking away from your investments in your health and investing it into cheap food. So I see them as the same thing. And my God, again, it's a hamburger. Like, just make it. Do you buy an air fryer? Air fryers are freaking awesome. You want to have some delicious fries? Buy a bunch of those little small new potatoes, I think they call them. Cut them in half, put salt and pepper on them, some olive oil, throw it in an air fryer, and it's done in 15 minutes, and it's better than anything you could have eaten elsewhere because it's not cooked in a terrible oil.
True. Depends on what restaurant you go to. Some are damn tasty.
And I make better ones, I guarantee it. Yeah. So, I mean, like, there's a lot of things. There's the macro scale of deceit, right? We pay back in your own coin. Right? There's the micro scale in the way that we do it every single day to ourselves, unless we develop an awareness around it. And we're getting paid back in our own coin. You eat shit, you're going to be shit. That's for sure.
I don't know, but I think a lot of people rekindled their cooking, I'm assuming, during quarantine.
I hope so. Eat eggs. Like, it's stunning. Like, like we live in this world of cosmic abundance where, so I understand it, where people are like, well, I don't know what to eat. What do you mean you don't know what to eat? Do you have eggs? oh, but eggs have cholesterol. No, that's bullshit. Like, it does. That's not how it works. So there's a whole system here that's, we've been deceived about what health is. So we're confused about what we're supposed to eat. But those are both lies. It's not tricky. And, a lot of the stuff we're being sold is a bag of horseshit. Like, it's not confusing. It's not challenging. And if you are confused, go back to first principles again. Like, what would we have eaten? Like,
fresh.
What is health?
Veg,
yeah, fresh
stuff.
Local. Fresh, local, diverse.
Another thing I saw on Al Jazeera, I've been watching the news.
Yeah, they're not bad.
In Detroit, this is an old, I think 2012, but basically they're able to rent all the empty vacant lots, and there's this big resurgence of like local community agriculture. So tons of people are taking over like 20 lots, farming the whole thing, having these what do you call it, flea markets,
urban agriculture, and like farmers markets. That's
farmers
awesome.
markets, yeah. And then they went back, and the lady she's 70. Like 8 years later, she's 70. She's still going on her tractor. Expanded, got a greenhouse. So
that's awesome.
Good.
There are more efficient ways to do things for sure. I'm a huge fan of regenerative agriculture. I just hate the idea. And again, it's like agriculture. I'm complaining about it, right? But am I really? I'm complaining about monocrop agriculture. I'm saying the solution is regenerative. It is having animals on the same area. It isn't growing the same thing all the time just to feed this stupid lie about like what health is. You want to know I love there's this Jim Gaffigan quote. I just watched all of them last week. The guy's hilarious. You want to hear magic? What if I told you that I can turn an apple into bacon? Pigs do that. That's crazy. Taking an apple, this is a quote for him. You're taking an apple, which is basically garbage, and turning it into bacon, the best thing on the planet. What do cows do? Right? They take grass. We can't do shit with it. There's nothing in it, really. Right? They take grass and they turn it into the healthiest food on the planet. Right? Nutrient dense, healthy fats, proteins.
That's where you got to be careful, because, well, maybe not you, but because those like tofu byproducts and stuff like that, those little bricks or whatever, like the excess garbage that's left over, things like that, or the corn cakes, or just
that's what they feed.
Yeah, that's what they feed the cows.
Sometimes
they can't. Yeah, not mainly in like the factory farms and things like that, but
yeah, true.
And they can't digest that. That's all makes them sick. That's not what they're used to eating. So you gotta be careful on where you actually choose your meat as well.
Hell yeah, and that's I don't disagree. That's great, and it's a really good point to bring up. Although I'd say you're still healthier eating a non-grass-fed cow versus a ton of soy, all the estrogens and stuff in it. In any case, like you want to deceive yourself about what health is, expect to be paid back. Like the vegan experiment should be dead and put to rest immediately. It hasn't worked. It doesn't work for anybody long term. The only way to do it is to live a non-ancestrally, a non-evolutionarily compliant lifestyle that modern industry makes possible and takes away from the environment, etc. Yeah, deceive yourself, get paid back, man. Get paid back in health consequences, etc. And Donald Trump, yeah, I'm not even sure what to say. Like, that's poetic justice.
Yeah, look into the Blue Zone diet if you want a healthy diet.
Yeah, and there's no Blue Zone diet on the planet that isn't primarily animal based. 100% true. Yep, fresh, local, seasonal. Love it. All right. Well, that's a quick one from us. Well, it turned out longer than I expected. But yeah, I obviously had a lot to say, and I guess that's a good thing being apart for a while. But let's make these these recordings a little bit more consistent so we can catch up with each other, eh?
Yep. Sounds good.
All right, awesome. Well, everybody, till next time, adios.
Amigos.